Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much to my subscribers and welcome newcomers. I hope you like what you see, and if so, be part of this journey with us, one growing big family. Thank you for your beautiful comments and all your love. I really appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. I would like to mention, if the video is too fast for you, up top there's 3 little buttons on the right hand corner for most of you, or in your settings. And you can slow down the video to the speed you like. You can also turn the closed caption on, which is the CC next to the 3 little dots. If you don't know how to do it, in the link below in the description box, there's a little link that you can click on there, and I show you how to do that. It's a 2-minute video. Also, would like to mention that I do have a crochet private group. You're more than welcome to join if you have a profile. There's a lot of scamming going around in the crochet groups nowadays. You must be careful with the links bit and cut. Don't open those. They steal your identity and every information about you. Okay, so, and also thank you to the women that have been coming through to help other women in need of thread. We gratefully appreciate you. Thank you so much. And for some that are still considering, and I hope you do, please donate whatever you can. They really need thread, and they need to occupy their minds of the troubles of everyday life. So please do a good deed for them. It's not the amount, it's the gesture. So please help out. You could either give it to the super thanks right below the video. That's going directly into the YouTube account, and then they take 30% off whatever you're giving, or you can go into my PayPal account and in the description box below and donate from there. Please, also, I would like to mention, if you're watching a video, passing through, you like what you saw, please give a thumbs up. It's extremely important to have YouTube recognize the videos and circulate it in order for us to keep growing. And also, if you can share to bring more people into the channel and recognize the channel. Sharing is caring. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's get started. I want to mention that I use a 2.75 hook. It's 100% cotton thread most of the time, my thread. And these are Portugal brands. I should have one somewhere around here. And these threads, they go by numbers. They don't go by name. Since there was a high request of ordering threads, I am taking orders for threads. So if you're interested, they're $12 a ball, and they're 100 grams. It's about 325 yards. This is coming from Europe, and it's including with shipping. But you must order at least 6 in order to cover the shipping costs, because it's literally impossible to ship out without having you guys pitch in for those 6 rolls for the thread. I earn nothing by it, okay? It's just basically a favor that I'm doing to you guys since it's such a high demand. These are 4 plies. They're a little bit thinner than Aunt Lydia number 3. And these have a shine to it. Aunt Lydia is more of a matte, which for doilies and centerpieces and things like that, I prefer to use Aunt Lydia in the white or off-white, and then mix these colors, and it's just perfect. Okay, so let's get started, everyone. And if you need to get a hold of me for either order patterns, because you can, if you see a video you like and you'd like to order that pattern, you can comment on there or through my email. Just make sure you send me the picture so I'll know what you're talking about, or through message on my Facebook group or Instagram or TikTok. All the information is below in the description box, so you have many ways of getting hold of me. Okay, so we'll start from here now. Thank you. Okay, everyone, so we're going to do this rose flower. It's more of a rose. Of course, if you use the red, it's going to stand out more like a rose. I did put a big pearl in the center. It's optional. Now with this rose, you can have it closed, close it up as you wish, like that. I like it the sides here open, so what I might do is use my hot gun glue and just glue a little bit on the petals here so they can stay open. It is easy to do, but it does take a lot of attention creating it. This rose will be created separately. I'm doing a table runner, which will be a braided table runner. I had done similar at the beginning when I started the channel, but of course the video was not good. The app of the editing was not good. I didn't know how to call out the stitch names. So for that reason, I'm making a similar, not the same, but very quite similar to the centerpiece braided table runner. The rows will take 2. We'll go one on each end. If you're interested to make this table runner as I'm going to create, then once I start with the centerpiece, I will link below the table runner, the centerpiece, to the flower. But the flower could be used for any project that you wish. And a lot of times I do these flowers separate. People have different uses for them. So I'm using a 4-ply 100% cotton thread, and I do have like this baby yellow, the white, and I will be using the yellow and turquoise, Tiffany blue if you want to put it that way, for the bottom centerpiece of the rose, because we need to create a foundation of the rose in order to create the petals. Okay, so we're going to get started, and then once I'm done with the next flower, which will be the tutorial, then I'm ready to go with the centerpiece. Okay, thank you so much for being here. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. My thread is similar to Aunt Lydia number 3. Number 3 is thicker, so your pattern becomes bigger. 2.75 hook, a small one to tuck in loose ends, and of course a pair of scissors. Let's get started, everyone. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm coming in with that turquoise yellow for my foundation. I'm going to do the magic circle, or you can do a 5 to 6 chain depending upon your tension. I'm going to do 1 chain just to secure that magic circle, coming back in, creating my single and 2 chain. This is how I start my first double crochet. So this is 1 double crochet already. I'm going to do 11 more inside of this magic circle for a total of 12 double crochets. Okay, we'll have 7 rows for this foundation. I've done my 12 double crochets, including with the single and 2 chain. Here's the thing with this recording now, with this app. If I get a little bit close to the phone, it sounds like I'm whistling, like there's wind. If I move myself away from the phone a little bit, you won't be able to hear me. So I'm stuck in between both worlds with this app. But what can I say, right? So I'm coming in my 2nd chain from where I started the single and those 2 chain. Close it up with slip stitch. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3 chain into the same one, and I will be using only back loops. Okay, so 2 per space. Next space, back loops only, 2 double crochet per space. So we'll have a total of 24 double crochets. This is row 2. The next row will have 2 together and 1 double crochet alone per stitch. Then 2 in the same stitch, next one 1 alone. But I'll meet you on the next row. I've done my 24 double crochets, 2 in the same stitch. I'm coming in my 3rd chain because I went up 3 chain, and I'm closing it with slip stitch. Now it's going to turn a bit like this, which is normal. As you go, it will get fixing. So 1, 2, 3 chain. I'm coming back in and creating another double crochet, and I'm grabbing these 2 loops here from where I've closed the slip stitch just to have that back loop. Next stitch, 1 double crochet alone. Next one, 2 together in the same stitch. Next space, 1 double crochet alone. Next space, 2 double crochet together using back loops only. Okay, so we have 2 loops here from the double crochet. We're going to grab the back loop only, 1 double crochet alone into the next one, 2 together in the same stitch. Next row will be 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and 2 double crochets, 1 per stitch. Okay, so 2 alone, 2 together, 2 alone, 2 together on the next row until we meet row 7. So that means this is row 3. So row 4, 2 double crochets alone, 2 together in the same stitch. Now when I say 2 double crochets alone, I mean 1 per stitch. I'll meet you there. So I've reached the end. I'm going to come up again 1, 2, 3 into the same stitch, another double crochet. Next space we're doing 1 double crochet alone, next stitch 1 double crochet alone. So this row will have 2 alone and 2 together. Next row 3 alone, 2 together. Okay, until row 7. So it's just now 1, 2, 3, 4. Row 4, 2 alone, 2 together. Row 5, 3 alone, 2 together. Row 6, 4 alone, 2 together. Row 7, 5 alone, 2 together. I'll meet you at the end of row 7. Okay everyone, so I pretty much finished doing my 7 rows, and on my 7th row I have 5 alone, 1 per space or 1 per stitch, and 2 in the same stitch. Now my row 8 is just single crochets. You can do the same color if you want. I just happen to do it this way with the lime green, but it's not necessarily. You can use the same color. And this row, you can start anywhere, is just single crochets all the way around. Okay, so just 1 single crochet per stitch, and then you can cut your thread, and we're ready to proceed with the petals. Grabbing both threads. It's not back loops. We're just closing out this row 8 in all of the stitches. Okay. And then we're going to start with the petals. So very simple. Okay. Okay everyone, so I pretty much finished doing all of my base for the flower. So I'm going to do the same. I'm coming in with my first 2 petals with this baby yellow. I'm going to grab, that's why we had to leave these loops, okay? I'm going to grab 1 loop and do a single. We don't want to stretch those loops too much, so you will have to hold on to the pattern in order for it not to be stretched out, okay? Need patience for this. 1, 2 chain. That equals my double crochet. I'm coming back in the same one and doing 2 more. So I'll have a group of 3. I'm holding on to my pattern. I don't want to stretch that loop. I'm coming directly right into the next loop. These are the front loops that we left, and doing 3 more double crochet. So we'll have a total of 6. That's 3 on the first one, 3 on the second one. Okay. Now I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3 chain. I'm going to turn around and I'm going to work 2 double crochet per stitch. That means 2 in the same space. Next space, 2 double crochet together. So we'll have a total of 12 double crochet, 2 double crochet together. Next space, 2 double crochet. It takes a lot of patience to do this, but this is a piece of art, and so it's well worth the patience. And on to the last one. Make sure you do grab that last one. That's the chain we went up. In my case, I did a single 2 chain. You might just do 3 chain. I don't know how you operate with your double crochet. Now, again, we have these loops here. We're going to close in with slip stitch. So we're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I just need to turn it so you can see it properly, because I know it's kind of hard on camera, right? So I'm going to skip the next loop, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 from the outside in. I'm going to close it with a slip stitch, and I don't want it to be too loose because we don't want these petals to be, you know, higher on one side than the other. So I've closed in with the slip stitch. I'm going to turn around again, and I'm going to work a single crochet per space. So I'm coming in my first double crochet, single, 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 and all petals will be created this way. Single, single, all the way to the end. Now, of course, you can do your base one color only. You can start your petals with white, do mix red. On my last double crochet, I'm just going to do a slip stitch. I'm not doing a single. Now I'm going to come in the front here, and I'm going to skip again 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That means it leaves me, it basically doesn't leave me nothing because we've hooked on this one here. So we are hooked here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. In this fifth one, I'm going to create again. First of all, I'm going to close it with slip stitch. Okay, so we have our first petal this way, which is normal that it curves in. That's how petals are. And I'm going in again, 1, 2, 3 chain. In the same space, I'm creating these 6 double, not in the same, 3 double crochet here, but we're having a total of 6. And on the one that we hooked, the very first one, it's already used. We're going to do 3 double crochets also on that one. Okay, so 2 and 3. I'm going to 1, 2, 3, back up, turn around, and we're going to repeat the same thing, 2 per space. So 2 double crochets in the same stitch 6 times, so that's going to give us 12 double crochets. My neighbors are still, every day these people have something to construct. I mean, they should have it mentioned by now, but I guess not. I want to make sure, no, I missed one here. Okay. So we have to do 2 in the same space. Don't forget your last one, which is the 3 chains weaving up, because sometimes we have the tendency to forget it. If you can't get into the chain, just go right into that loop. Okay. Now, here's the tricky part. So we have them 2. We need to do those singles. We're going to come from the inside of this loop here, like that. And we're going to close our petal. Okay. So come in. Gotta get this straight on camera because then you'll have a hard time. So come inside of your petal here. Okay. Come in where it's closed, it's hooked, and do your slip stitch. Okay, so we did it from the inside. Now we're going to turn around and do our singles. Okay, so do your singles, 1 per space. Until the end, and all of the petals will be created this way. Of course, the first 2, because it's the first petals, they're more close together. The other ones will be easier to do, to have more space to do them because they're more separated. On your last one, do a slip stitch. Okay, now this one we came from the inside. This one we're going to close in from the outside so they can connect exactly where we have the first double crochet there where we started that petal. Okay, so they'll be crossed like this. Okay, and then I'm going to cut my thread. If you're using the same color, you have the option either to cut your thread or to continue with the same thread. You would have to go chain 2 or chain 3 up to the next row. I'm just going to bring this stitch that I have here that I just closed into the petal to hide it. Okay. Now these two, of course, I've cut in the thread because I'm changing color. But on the other ones that I have towards the end of my petals, I didn't cut my thread. I just went up. So I'm just hiding my thread in between the petals in here. Makes it easier not to see any of the thread. So just going in through some of the loops and then cut whatever leftover you have. So my first 2 petals are created. Okay. Now I'm going to come in with the multicolored, the blue. The blue and yellow. So we have the middle here of the 2 petals. You play it by eye, okay? I'm gonna go right in here in this one. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want to, because I want my petal to cover this here so it can connect, right? So you give it more or less your eye look. So I'm going to come right here. And this time we are going to create 3 groups of 3 double crochets. So I did my single and my 2 chain. I'm going to hold on to the pattern. I don't want this loop to stretch. So I'm going to do 3 inside of this loop. Into the next loop, I'm going to do 3 more. Try to hide this little thread here. So I have 2 and 3, so I have 6, and into the next loop I'm going to have 9 double crochets. Obviously the petals get bigger, right? So now I've used the 3 loops in between the petal. This is on the second row, okay? I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 chain, turn around, come in the same space as we went up, and do 2 double crochet per stitch, okay? So 2 in the same space all the way to the end. Okay, so I've done my 2 double crochets on each 9, so you should have 18. Now we're going to skip 5 and go into the 6th loop to close in with slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Into my 6th slip stitch, turn around, come in your first double crochet and do your singles, okay? Obviously we have to skip more than the first petals because the first petals it's the small, there's not enough stitch, right? Okay, so singles, and then on the last one, slip stitch. So I've done the slip stitch on my last double crochet, and I'm going to count again, skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, coming in my sixth loop, slip stitch, and going up, chain 3, starting my second petal, 2, 3. Again, we're going to, from here on, we use 3 loops always to create the petals. Only the first one we did 6 to get us going, because it's not a huge petal at the beginning of a flower, right? It starts small, then goes big. So we're using the 3 loops of 3 double crochet in each one. We'll have a total of 9. I've done my 9 double crochets, chain 3, going up, and doing 2 double crochet per stitch. That means we'll have 18 double crochets. Whoops, I'm skipping so many here, ain't I? I have to be more attention to it. Okay, so 2 per stitch, and then I'll meet you at the end. So on the last one, 2. I'm going to come in again from the inside of this petal, and right where I have hooked the other one, I'm going to slip stitch. I'm going to turn around. Can you tell I had put a knot there? I ran out of thread and I had to use 2 smaller ones. Singles, so it's like 2 number 10s I had to use in order to get more or less the same 4 ply. So singles, 1 per space. Then on my last one, I'm going to do just a slip stitch, okay? On my last double crochet here, slip stitch. And again, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on my 6th. Actually, no, I'm going to go back 1. On my 5th, I'm going to slip stitch and going up 1, 2, 3. So I skipped 4 and I went into my 5th with this 3rd petal, okay? Next space, 3. So we're always doing those 9 double crochets. So I have 6 already, and on my last loop, which is the one that we've used to close up that petal, I'm doing 3 more double crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain going up, coming in the same one, and doing 2 double crochets together. So continue yours and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so I've done my 18 double crochets. Now, remembering we're going to go in the inside of the petal and in where we have it hooked already and do a slip stitch. Turn around and single stitch 1 per space. So on each double crochet, single crochet. On the last one, we do a slip stitch, okay? So I've done my last one with a slip stitch. I'm going to come in. Now I'm going in the outside. So I'm going to come in where it's hooked already. You can see your double crochet there with a slip stitch. Okay, and now I'm going to cut my thread just because I'm changing color. I'm going into the yellow, or else I would have went straight up to the next row. But because I'm changing my color, it's preferably that I cut my thread to go. It's much easier to go to the next row. So I'm pulling in my 2 strings here because I'm using 2, almost like Aunt Lydia number 10. And I'm just going to make a little knot here on the inside of this petal at the bottom, so nothing comes apart, okay? And I'm just going to pull these threads through a few more loops here on the petal and the inside, just to make sure that we're all good. And then cut the excess because I've already made a knot there. Okay, so now we have our 3 petals done. Okay, so of course it's going to be all messed up this way because we are not fixing it yet, right? So we have our 3 petals. And now I'm going to come in again with my soft yellow. Okay, so row 1 is the 2 petals. Row 2 has the 3 petals. And now we should have 4 petals on the next row. So this is how we're going to proceed all the way up. Now, it's probably going to be much easier for you each time you're going to finish a row to cut your thread and go to the next row and start fresh from there. I think people that have a little bit more experience at this can continue on. So again, we're going to repeat the same thing. So in between petals, I want to make sure that I can put my petal here. So I'm going to come in, play it by eye. I'm going to come in here. Let me see. So we use 3. 1, 2, 3. So you have to remember that. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm going to come right here. So we're going to do again. Use 3 loops of the 3 double crochets. So I've done a single and 2 chain. I'm going to hold on to my pattern because I don't want that loop to stretch. So we're going to do the, again, it's just a repeat, the 3 double crochets into the next loop and 3 more into the, and sometimes it's best to bend your pattern to help you. So 3 more, and then 1, 2, 3 chain going up, coming in the same space, and create your 2 double crochets per space. Okay, so I've done all my 2 double crochets per stitch. We're going to skip 6 and going to the 7th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm coming in to my 7th loop. Turn around and doing the singles all the way to the end. On the last one we do a slip stitch. Okay, so I've done all my singles. Again, I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm coming in my 7th and slip stitch. I'm going up chain 3. 1, 2, 3, coming back in the same space doing the 3 double crochets. So we're going to do the 9 double crochets again to create the second petal here. So next space, 3 double crochets, next space, next loop, 3 double crochet. We're always using 3 loops and always creating 9 double crochets. Turn around, 1, 2, 3, in the same space, double crochet. So we're doing 2 double crochets in the same stitch, always total of 18 double crochets. So I've done my 18 double crochet. Now I'm going to come in the inside where we have that petal hooked, okay, and slip stitch, turn around and create your singles, 1 per stitch all the way to the end. Getting to the last double crochet, we're doing slip stitch. Okay, so I've turned around and doing my singles all the way to the end, and on the last one we're going to do a slip stitch. And then again we're going to skip 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, go into your 7th, slip stitch and chain 3, your first double crochet, and then create again your 9 double crochets. So 3 per loop, next loop 3 double crochets, and next loop 3 double crochets. So very simple, but you know, it does take a lot of attention. Just remembering that you must remember to do each row. Don't skip, because sometimes it can be hidden. It has happened to me. Okay, so we're going to turn around. 1, 2, 3. I've done my 9 double crochets, and now 2 per space. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end. So I finished doing my 18 double crochets, again coming into the inside, and we have the 3 double crochets there hooked, so I'm just going to go right under and slip stitch, turn around, and sometimes it can be a little bit tricky, but we can do everything we want. Go into your first double crochet, single, and then continue on doing your singles until the end, and on the last one do your slip stitch. Okay, so I've done my singles and my slip stitch on the last double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to come in the 6th this time at the end. Slip stitch. 1, 2, and 3, and create your 3 double crochets on this loop. Next loop 3 double crochets, and the next one 3 double crochets. Okay, turn around, 1 2 3 chain, and do 2 double crochets per stitch. So you'll have your 18 double crochets. So I finished doing my double crochets. I'm going to come in the inside of my petal and then in through the back where I have it hooked and slip stitch. Turn around, do your singles, and on the last one your slip stitch. I'll meet you at the end. So I've done my singles and my slip stitch. I'm going to come in the outside. So always when you start, you go in the petal, and the last one you come from the outside and do your slip stitch. Now, to make it easier, because you guys will have a hard time probably of going up and trying to figure out which double crochet to take, I suggest, since it's your first time, until you have more practice at these flowers, to cut your thread and then come in again and hide it in between your petals, inside of the petals, so you don't see any of the threads, and make a knot so it's secure. So I've made my knot, and I'm just going to hide it in between the loops here again and cut the excess. So now I've done my 2 first ones, the 3, I've done my 4th. Now, like I said, you could have your flower like this, or you afterwards, when you're done, you can fix it and turn it a bit. Okay, so again, I'm going to do one more row of yellow and then the last 2 rows of white. So it's always a repeat the same thing. So you have the 2 petals. You're going to come in where you think is close enough before the middle, the division here of the petals. Try to hide this little thread at the same time and come in and do your, you can go up with 3 chain, however you start your double crochet. I'm used to a single and 2 chain, so that's how I'm going to do mine. So single, 2 chain, and then again 2 more double crochets. And the dogs are going crazy. Must be the cat, I call him Garfield, comes around every day at the same time to bug the dogs. So 3 double crochet per space here on each loop. So you're using 3 loops, 9 double crochets. Okay, and 1 2 3 chain going up. Again, 2 double crochet per space, per stitch. So you're going to have your 18 double crochets. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so finish doing my double crochets. I'm going to skip 1 2 3 4 5, coming in my 6th double crochet, chain there, or a loop. My goodness, I can't even get my words straight. coming in the first double crochet and doing your singles. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end. Don't forget the last one is a slip stitch. Done my slip stitch on the last one, and again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, coming in my 6th slip stitch, and then 1, 2, and 3 in the same one, creating my group of 3 double crochets. On my next one, next loop, 3 double crochets. So it's just a repeat now. The next row is the same way, and the next row with the white, I'll be going into the 6th place also. So we have the 9. 1, 2, 3. Just remembering that when you get here, you're coming in the inside, okay? So turn around, 2 double crochets per stitch. So you have your 18. So I've done my double crochets. I'm coming from the inside and slip stitch, turn around, create your singles. Okay, so let's just repeat this row like this. I'm going to continue to do mine until I'm finished all my petals here on this row. It's just a repeat, going into your 6th loop to create your petal. And my last one, slip stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into my 6th slip stitch, and continue to create your 3 chains to start the next petal. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if you need to rewind a bit on this row, go ahead. Just remember that you always have one loop hooking on the outside and the other one in the inside. Okay. Okay, you guys, so I have my 5 petals, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and my 6th one is already on where we hooked the last petal. So what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to go all the way here because it's too far out. I'm going to skip 1, 2, and I'm just going to hook it on the 3rd one here, like that, and it gives it a nice little stretch. And so I'm going to turn around. Did I get my singles? I did my singles. Oh my goodness, what is wrong with me? And I'm going to cut my thread. Okay, and tuck in my thread in between the loops here of the petals, and I'm going to come in my last 2 rows with the white, and I'm also make a knot here so nothing comes apart. Now I could have skipped and went into the 7th on this row, but I didn't, and it makes no difference. I mean, it would have helped now at the end, but it doesn't change anything. You can still do it that way. Okay, so basically we have the 2 petals, the 3, the 4, and now the 5. Okay, so I'm going to come in with the white. So I've done my slip stitch knot, and again I'm going to come in between where the petals meet. So I'm going to come right here on this one. And do my single. Maybe start that again. My stitch is always so tight, so even to get that first stitch in is like a nightmare. I never learned my lesson to stretch it out a bit in my first stitch. Okay, finally. I thought I was only going to get it in tomorrow or something. I don't know. Single crochet and continue again. Your groups of 3 double crochet, next loop again, too much on there. And next loop your 3 double crochet. So it's just a repeat now. Go up, chain 3 and do 2 double crochet per space, per stitch, 2 together. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so I've done all my double crochets. I'm going to skip 6 going into my 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into my 7th. Turn around. Create your singles. And on the last one, slip stitch. So again, I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, coming in the 7th, slip stitch, and do your 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, and start your next petal. So it's going to be like this all the way around again, the same way. Now when we're ready to go to the last row, for some of you that are a little bit more advanced, I'm going to show you how to go to the next row without cutting the thread. Okay? And some of you that are not advanced, you might want to give it a try and start learning from there. Okay, 1, 2, 2, 3, and start your 2 double crochets per space. Okay. Okay, so remembering always when you're going in, you're always going in to the petal before, right? Turn around. Singles, and the last one slip stitch again. So I've done my singles, my slip stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into my 7th, slip stitch, and 1, 2, 3, ready to create my next petal. Once you get the hang of it, you're going to fly with it and make beautiful pattern, beautiful flowers with patterns with these flowers. You'll be amazed at yourself. You just have to have a little bit of patience. Nothing in life is without patience, right? Perseverance, of course. I've noticed some of you give up too easy. Life is not about giving up. Life is full of challenges, and you must force ahead with them. Okay, so I'm going to continue mine and all the way to the end, and then when I'm done, I've already taught you if you need to go back and see it again. I'll see you at the end anyway. If we need to skip a few more, we should be okay, but I'll meet you at the end of this row. Okay, you guys, so 2, 4, 6 petals, right? And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. My 8 would be where it's hooked, so I'm just going to come, not the one that's hooked, I'm going to skip, come into the second one here and close it up with slip stitch. Okay, now going up to the next row, if you don't want to cut your thread, I'm going to do chain 2 and not too tight. Okay, obviously we have to come over here in order to be in the middle of these petals. So I'm just going to come in, let's say this one here, and I'm just going to bring my thread through it and go up chain 3. Now if you don't want to do it this way, like I said, you can cut your thread and proceed the other way. Okay, so that's usually how you do, but because we're a little bit more distance here, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to cut my thread and restart. If it was more of a close-up like this, it would have been easier to hide it, right? So I'm cutting my thread. And going to hide it in between the petals. Okay, remembering that afterwards these are gonna, you know, by turning them a bit, because like I said, you can have it going up this way or down. Okay, okay, so I'm coming in where I see more or less that I'll be using these 3 here. And this is the last row of petals. So single 2 chain, repeat the same thing again as we've been doing. The 3 double crochets. Next space, 3 double crochets in the next loop. And again. Chain 3, go up, doing exactly the same thing. So 2 per stitch, per space. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so I've done my double crochets. Now we're going to skip 7 and go into the 8. It's going to stretch a bit, of course. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 into the 8. Turn around and do your slip stitch, and on the last one, not slip stitch, single, and on the last one your slip stitch. And we'll be skipping by 7 going into the 8. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 into my 8. 1, 2, 3, and start your next petal. So we'll be like this until the end. I'll meet you at the end in case we need to make any adjustments. Okay? Okay, you guys, I'm on my last one. And I had no chain left because hooked on the last one here, and this one's already busy. So I'm going to come through the back and hook where we have the other petal hooked, and then I am cutting my thread, and we're pretty much done with the flower. So you need to make a few knots to make sure that it stays in place. And I will be doing the runner right after this tutorial, so stay tuned for that. If you haven't subscribed, then please do so you can be, and also hit that bell notification so you can be notified of my new uploads. Please also give a thumbs up on the video, it's extremely important. Share if you can. So basically this is what our beautiful little flower looks like, and then you would just either stitch or glue. I'm going to hot gun glue my pearl in the center, and this flower has 16 centimeters, so you'll need 2 of these if you're planning to create the table runner. You can give yourself a head start on it, and like I said, you can have the flower upwards or down, like I have it like this. I'm only leaving these 2 or 3 like that, and everything else I'm turning. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. I will see you in the next tutorial. God bless, and take care of yourselves and each other. Until next time. Okay.